Hey residents of Meepletown, today we are taking a look at the reprint of Discworld Ankh-Morpork called Nanty Narking.
Nanty Narking!
Let's get to the table and check out Nanty Narking. Alright, so here is the setup for Nanty Narking. You've got a giant board in the middle, and we've got lots of miniatures on both sides of the table, lots of cards. I'm just going to kind of jump into giving you a quick explanation. But basically, we each have our own secret personalities, our secret objectives that we're trying to accomplish. So we're going to throw those on the screen right now so you can see what those are. I'm going to hold it up. I don't know if that helps, but then John's going to
do the same.
And then
we'll have it up on the screen.
We'll throw it up on the screen as well.
That sounded kind of gross.
That's
actually.
So we're going to, we're each trying to accomplish this personality, this objective. And so at the start of your turn, if you have completed your objective, you will win the game. Now the only exception to that is Sherlock Holmes, who is just trying to get through the entire deck of cards. Which would also signal the end of the game. But what you're going to do on your turn is play a card and take the actions listed on those cards and then draw back up to 5 cards in your hand. If you have more than 5 cards, you don't have to discard down, but you just keep 5 cards in your hand, and then the next player goes and you just keep going back and forth like that in a 2-player game. So I think I'll start it off. So the first thing I'm going to do is play the Electric Telegraph Company card, which is first going to allow me to take 2 cards from the draw deck. So I'll take 2. And then I will take 2 coins. Now what you have to do on these cards is take it exactly the order that it says to do the actions. And then the next thing I'll be able to do is play another card, and that's exactly what I'll do. So I will play Mr. Latimer and Mr. Kemp, which is going to allow me to assassinate a character in an area that I'm in that also has this conflict token. So all of the areas that we're in right now have those, and we'll kind of explain that a little bit more in just a little bit. So I'm going to first assassinate you in the city.
In the city?
So I'll remove that, and anytime you remove a character from an area, you're going to remove that conflict token. And then I'll just take 1 coin from the bank, put it in my stash, and that will complete my turn. I'll just discard these right here, and then drop back up to 5. Now it is Mr. McPeter's turn.
It is, so I am going to return the favor. And I'm going to play a little Dr. Palmer, which is going to assassinate...
I just cheated, sorry. I already had 2 cards. My bad. I already had 5 cards, I mean. Oh, ouch.
Dead. And then let's toss those in there, and I get 3 coins. So that is it for my turn.
All right, as you can see, turns are very quick.
Unless you string together a bunch of those combo actions.
That's exactly right. All right, so the next thing that I'm going to do is, let's see, I'm going to play this card, which is Royal Albert Hall, which first will let me build, and I will just take a building of like my miniature stash over here, and I'll put them in an area where I have a presence and that there's not a conflict token in. And then you just pay this cost, which is, in this case, £6. So I'll pay those £6 to the bank, and then I now have a building in the city, which means, excuse me, that's number 6. I'll take the number 6 card, and now I'll have this special ability as long as I have that building there, and as long as that's my building. Now, I get a special ability. In this case, it's I can discard a card and take £2 from the bank, but you cannot use it as soon as you get it. And there's also another special ability on there that allows me to get a shilling for each agent in West End, but there's no agents there, so I'll just draw back up to 5, and that is my turn.
All right, I'm going to go ahead and play this. The text says, discard as many cards as you wish to take, £1 for each one discarded, but I do not want to discard any cards. I'm going to build over in Chelsea over there, which is going to cost me $6. Nope, £6. Shillings. And there we go.
All right, let's just play. We'll each play one more turn. How about that?
Sounds good to me.
All right, so you're going to discard that one, draw back up to 5. And I will play Peter Stokes, which says that I'm going to roll a die. On a roll of 7 to 12, I'll take £4 from the bank. I rolled a 9, so I will get to take 4. I'll take 5 and put 1 back. And then, that's all it has on there, but I get to play another card. And I think what I will do is, well, I'm gonna play this card, move another player's agent.
Keep the combo chain going
from one area to an adjacent area. So I think what I'm gonna do is just take John's agent right here, move it down to that area, and then anytime you remove an agent from a location, you're going to remove a conflict token. Anytime you add a agent to an area where there's any other piece, any other agent, yours or another player's, then you're going to add a conflict token. But we'll just remove that, and then that's going to be almost my turn. I get to play one more card, which is just going to let me take 4 cards, and then that will be my turn.
All kinds of cards. All right, I'm going to play the Fire Brigade. Means that I choose you.
Thanks.
If he does not pay $5 or £5, excuse me, you may remove one of his buildings from the board.
Ooh, that's really bad, especially since I already have one out there. So of course,
thanks for the monies. Thank you for the monies. All right, and then I get another action, and with that other action, yeah, you kind of messed up what I was going to do there. A lot, actually. Oh, wow. I probably, I should have done something different. That doesn't help me. I'm just going to do this. I hate to do this now. I hate to do this because the text reads earn $1 or £1 for every trouble marker on the board, and there's none.
Ooh, ouch.
But I do get to play an agent, and I really want to play an agent at this point. So I'll place an agent adjacent to or in the same spot of one of my other agents. I'll just, nope, I'm going to go here, but I'm also going to do this action here. So, as Dean mentioned, we have actions on these cards. Chelsea says once per turn, you can pay £3 to place one of your agents in Chelsea or in an adjacent area. So, I'm going to pay £3 to then put another person on the board. So, there you go.
All right, so that is kind of it. Now, what we're doing is trying to deduce what we think the other players have. So, in this case, my guess is that John's trying to gain some different territories, which I think is probably correct since I looked at your card beforehand. Did I remember that correctly?
You looked at my card beforehand?
Maybe a little bit.
That sounds about right.
For me, what I was trying to do is build up all of my wealth because I needed to have 66 pounds in order to meet my win condition for a 2-player game. So
there's different win conditions as there's ones where you're just trying to get as many out on the board as possible, Moriarty, or ones where you have to control. Mine is you have to control 7 areas in a 2-player game of 7, right? Areas. So I've got to have control over those. There's what Dean has, where you got to get a certain amount of money, and then Sherlock Holmes. And is that it?
I think so. Then in
for the basic game,
right? So then there's variant players that you can personalities that you can play with, and there's several other different variants to this. But let's jump into the art and components. What do you think, John?
Well, I mean, you got all these fantastic miniatures. I can't complain about that.
They're pretty amazing.
Yeah, they're awesome. The art, they're really good, and yeah, the art on the cards is fantastic as well. I don't want to steal all the thunder here, but those are the 2 things that really stand out to me: is the art on the cards and the art, the miniatures.
That's right. The art on the cards, some of the best art in any game. It's honestly, really they're fantastic. I love it, and there's a lot of it. You know, there's not a lot of the same art on any of the cards, or maybe any. I'm not really sure about that.
That's good.
But the board is an issue. Now, the side of the board that we're playing with right now is much easier to see than the flip side. On the flip side, each of the districts is colored, and the lines are thinner, and so it makes it a lot more difficult to see. With this one, it's a little bit easier.
For us, at least.
Correct. That's right. Now, with the adjacency, some of that can be kind of tricky because you look down here in Chelsea, and it is connected to Battersea. I may have said that wrong.
I couldn't wait for you to try to pronounce that.
Forgive me if I did say that wrong. But they are connected, but it's tight. And so you have to really pay attention to how those bridges connect with the different areas across the river. So that can be an issue, but I think, again, this side of the board is much easier to see.
It's super busy. Like with all the numbers here and all the houses and stuff. Like it's kind of cool, but man, it kind of goes with my eyes. For me personally, it's just a lot.
Yeah, and it seems to be any game that has like a map
like
for the
that.
board. It's just it's a challenge, I think. So I don't really know what the answer is to that, but I think this board is. I think this one is maybe as good as you can do it. I don't know.
I don't know. I am no artiste.
I'm not either. But let's talk about the gameplay.
All right, you go first since I did the art components.
So the things I really love about the gameplay is that the turns are quick. I mean, all you're going to do is play the card and take the action. And now that can be kind of frustrating because you might not have the cards that you want, but I think you can mitigate some of that with being able to draw more cards, passing cards to other players, discarding cards. Those kind of actions really help with that. But I love how quick those actions are. I really enjoy how you each have your own personality cards, so you're trying to reach your own objectives. And the thing that I really enjoy is not just trying to complete your own objective, but also the deduction part of figuring out what is John going for here. And you can really try to throw people off and have them guess the wrong thing. And I like deduction games, and that's not it's a pretty big part of this game, deduction.
So I was going to say, that's one of my favorite parts is maybe not the deduction part, but like you said, how everyone has a different objective. The reality is there's not that many really different objectives. So when you're trying to deduce it, you just got to think through as the game's being played, okay, does he have this many area control? Does he have this? How much money does he have or she have? And then you can go, okay, or is this person, I don't know what, maybe they're trying to do the Sherlock Holmes thing. So I don't think I guess the deduction is not super. I mean, I feel like as the game progresses, it's not that difficult. Generally,
it's not difficult.
At the beginning, it can be. Yeah,
it's super important because you really do need to know what other players are doing. If you just let somebody run with it, this game will end and
we played last night and it game ended like that
within 45 minutes, and that was because I wasn't paying attention to what John was doing, and I was paying more attention to what the other player was doing.
I love when you do that.
Yeah, but. For me, I really enjoy that deduction part of it.
Yeah, I like, also, in addition to, I like how that you have, like I said, different objectives. I also like the card combo action that you can get going in this game. Like Dean said, play a card, do the action. But I like whenever you get that chain of combos going where you can do those cards that allow you to play another card, which could allow you even to play another card. And there can be some really big moves in this game. Mm-hmm. It can get kind of swingy based on the way the cards are. So, like, you could... I feel like there's been times whenever I was way down and then I went pow. Like even last night, I played like 4 or 5 cards in a row, and it really just blasted me all over the board, which was fantastic. But negatively about the cards, there is luck based in this game for sure.
There is a decent amount of luck for sure.
Yeah, so you can get bad draws, and you're just. There are some cards that mitigate it, like Dean played one. Do you play the 4-card, gain 4 cards? Yeah. So there are those types of cards, but you may not get that card, so you may not be able to do that. So I would say that's something I don't love about it, how it can definitely be, for sure, luck-based to a decent degree.
Yeah, I think so, because, if you're trying to build up wealth and you have a huge stack of coins over here, then what you really need to be able to do is buy a building so that you have a building on the board and nobody's able to steal coins. But the problem is if you don't have that card to play, which can happen, frequently.
To build a building.
Right. Yeah. Then somebody's just going to come through and start stealing coins from you because you're the one that has the most coins. So that can be kind of frustrating, but, and if that is an issue for you, if you don't like luck in games, I don't think you're going to like this game at all.
Yeah,
if you don't like straight up area control, you're probably not going to like this game. But if you don't mind those things, I think you could check this out. I'm already jumping into the rating, I guess.
You are. I will say one more thing. I forgot to mention that I like these cities, the buildings. Yeah. I like how those can kind of give you somewhat of an engine, maybe that you could get money building one or something like that.
Right, and we didn't point these out, but there is a stack of random event cards, which are pretty crazy. Some of them can be really crazy. One of them is if you have those conflict tokens, if you have 8 of them out on the board, and you flip that card over, it just ends the game immediately, and you're like, what? So the thing you have to do is be aware of that, right? Yeah. Because there's also a character that once they get a bunch of conflict tokens out on the board, that's their win condition. So you kind of have to think through those things. And there's a fire that can wipe out buildings, and lots of different flood that can happen. So a lot of random things that could happen in this game.
Yep.
All right. So final thoughts.
Final thoughts. Me going first. You going first.
Yeah, you got it. You got it.
Me going first? Is that the right way to say it? Am I going first?
I mean, yeah, it is on Sesame Street. Maybe.
It is. Me go first. All right, so as I mentioned, I like the card combo action. I like how you have different objectives. I enjoy these cities over here, but I'm not a big fan of the lucky factor, the kind of randomness of the cards that you can get. I don't know how. I'm not the most giant area control fan. I want to say that too. Like, there are some games like Blood Rage has area control that I love. I'm just crazy about that. But I'm not the biggest, maybe the hugest fan about that. Also, these event cards can be pretty swingy also. Like, if you're trying to go out and control areas and then these guys start coming on the board and just starting to show up in your area just like that, that can be really stinky. So that's something I don't love about it as well. I'll say this. I really enjoy Martin Wallace's games, but this one just doesn't give me the amazing feels. It's not a bad game. If Dean wants to play it, I'm not gonna. I mean, there'll definitely be times I'm like, I would much rather play something else for sure. So I'm gonna give it like a 6.5 out of 10. I like it. Okay, nothing I'm overly excited about. Yeah, I'll be honest, I was a little disappointed in this. I was really looking forward to playing this, and it wasn't quite the excitement for me, but I think Dean has a different opinion.
I definitely do. This is more my style of game. I really enjoy the personality card part of it, and all the other things that John said, the city cards, the comboing the cards. I even enjoy the random events because I just think it's fun. And, that can be frustrating, but here's the thing. This game is not a two-player game. It says, we've played at two-player games, and it's fine, but it really shines when you have more players because you're going to have randomness happen in this game. But with 3 or 4 players, you can mitigate that by kind of teaming up against other people, but you can't fully team up on one person because then you're going to let somebody else run away with it.
Yep.
So there's that not really cooperative aspect, although there is that feeling of we have to cooperate to make sure that this person doesn't win, but also be able to meet our conditions. So at a 2-player game, I don't really want to play this, but at 3 and 4-player game, I think this game is a ton of fun. For me, it's an 8.5. It's a game that I want to play a lot.
High score.
But for me, this is a sweet spot game. Like, I don't mind randomness if the game is fun and if it feels like, kind of thematic, and I do think that this is, a pretty fun thematic game. And I really, really enjoy area control. That's one of my top mechanisms in game. I really enjoy that. And this one, it's super simple. The game can play in about an hour, which is huge because a lot of times those games don't
That's another positive. I do agree with that. I like how it's fairly quick.
Turns are very quick if you've played with people that know what they're doing, I guess. So anyway, I really enjoy it. That is an 8.5 for me. That is a
6.5
for John. Not his style game, which is totally fine. That's
but it's not bad.
Yeah. Now, one thing we do want to talk about really quick is we talked about the production, but with the high production comes a high price.
Yeah.
The MSRP on this game is about $100, right? That's a lot. It's a lot. And now there are variants that where these buildings make a difference, like the agents and the buildings. You can get cards in the variant that will say, when you place this specific character, this special ability goes with it. So I get that.
I like those. You didn't like them as much as me.
It was fine. It's I don't know if they're necessary, but in order to have those, you really do need to have the miniatures, the unique miniatures.
Yeah.
But that's just a lot for a game that plays in about an hour. That's a high price tag.
Yeah. Yep. And also, we didn't mention, but there are a few cards and miniatures that's slightly risque. Nothing like huge, but if you're playing with kids or something, I wouldn't want my 11-year-old or something to probably see a couple of the cards.
Sure.
They're not, it's not really that big of a deal. How would you say?
Probably the same, yeah. I might take some of those out if that was, playing with younger kids. But anyway, that is Nanty Narking. John, tell people how they can get in touch with us.
All right, if you're enjoying our channel, you can subscribe to it by clicking the subscribe button. Also, you can click the notification button and the little bell there so that you can know whenever we're coming out with new videos. We are on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. All those are at Meepletown Games. We have a podcast on iTunes, Google Play, Spotify, Stitcher, and we are Board Game Geek Guild 3407. That's it.
Thanks for coming down to Meepletown.
Thanks for joining us, and be sure to follow us on Twitter at Meepletown Games, and connect with us on the Meepletown Guild number 3407, at BoardGameGeek.com, and also subscribe to our podcast and YouTube channel. And until next time, thanks for coming down to Meepletown.